Hi guys, I'm Ben from Adaptalux and welcome to our first flower photography tutorial. Today I'm going to be shooting this rather lovely Clematis, so I'm going to get started and I'll see you in just a sec. We're finally heading towards summer and things are starting to bloom. It's still a little bit rainy and cold outside as I'm filming this, so I'm going to be shooting indoors. I'm going to be using the Adaptalux Studio with some artificial light to get some really nice shots of this pale purple Clematis, which has got some really nice textures and things in here. So we can see what we can get indoors in my living room. So you can actually do this all year round as well. If you've got some artificial light, you can go down to your local florist, grab some flowers, and you can still shoot in the winter, which is really nice. But being that it's summer, maybe just go and grab some nice flowers from your garden and experiment along with me. I'm going to start setting up our camera and our lighting. Got my flowers. I've just popped them into a little bottle which once had some sloe gin in it, unfortunately not anymore, but that's just going to hold our flowers relatively steady whilst we move around them with our camera. I'm going to be shooting freehand using a 100mm f2.8 Tokina lens. So that's going to allow us to get nice and close but also move back if we need to and get the whole flower in the frame. Our lighting, I've got the Adaptalux Studio and I've got it sat on a miniature tripod just for the time being to keep it steady and also raise it up to the level of our flowers as we move around. Now I've also got a single white lighting arm S, which is the brighter version of our normal white lighting arms. Now this creates more of a spotlight as opposed to a wider beam angle, because the light is focused down, so we'll get a brighter but narrower beam. So I'm just going to start off with one of these, plug it in and point it directly into our flower and see what we can get just by lighting with a single arm. Plugging in our lighting arm, I'm just going to point this straight at the front of our flower as if it were a single point of light, as if it were the sun basically, so the sun is coming from a single direction, and it's going to give us quite a natural look, almost as if it were direct sunlight, but a little bit more flexibility in where we place that light, so we can obviously move this light around where we couldn't actually move the sun around. And that means I'm going to be able to go exploring around this flower. So what I can initially see is that the front of our flower is it's quite pale, whereas the colour is coming through on the back of these petals. So we've got a nice purple colour coming through back here, and those stems are actually really nice to look at as well, with the pollen on the inside of the flower. So what I'm going to do is take the opportunity to move all the way around this flower and take a look at the other two blooms that we've got on here as well, looking at different angles that I could possibly take a shot from. I'm not too worried about our background at this point. You'll have noticed just then that the background was pretty much pitch black, and that's because there's so much light coming from this one arm and pointing at directly at the flower. The flower is so much brighter than anything in the background. The room is actually quite dark, but you can see that it's not showing up any objects in the background, simply because I've exposed for the well-lit flower and not for the background. You can test this before you start taking shots just by exposing for your flower, moving your camera off to the side, taking a shot of something in the background, and you should get a completely pitch dark image. If you don't, then you might need a little bit more light on your flower, or a darker backdrop. If you put something black in behind your flower, then that will get rid of a backdrop as well. So I'm not going to worry too much about what's in the background of my images, because I know that it will be underexposed anyway. So I'm going to go and explore some of these flowers and see exactly what I can do from different angles using this same lighting technique of just a single point of light. This is really effective. I'm shooting at 1/1600th of a second because of that Arm S and its raw power output, and the fact that I can get the arm nice and close into the flower here means that I can get some really great settings. So 1/1600th for a shutter speed is absolutely fantastic for something like this, because I mean the flower is moving around a little bit. My hands aren't the steadiest of hands, so it's great for eliminating that camera shake that would otherwise be there. And that's combined with an aperture of f/16, so I can still get a fairly good aperture there as well, and an ISO of around 500. I'm just moving that up or down along with my shutter speed to compensate for getting closer into the flower and further away. Getting close in is really interesting, seeing all of these tiny little specks of pollen, and it's actually the flowers are covered in tiny little hairs as well, so getting really close you can see all of that. My favourite shot though came from looking at the back of the flower. Now I knew that purple colour was on the back of the petals and I really wanted to capture that, but it was a bit tricky until I realised that the light is actually powerful enough to shine through those petals when you're at the back of the flower. So I left the light at the front of the flower and let the light shine through to the back of the petals, which created really nice contrast, a lot of dark spaces with the highlight right in the middle of the flower looking through those two petals. I thought that was really nice, but let me know what you think down in the comments. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of you guys out there shooting flowers, so I'd really like to know what you guys think to my shots today, and also some ideas for flowers that we should shoot in the future. We're going to be doing a lot more of these sort of shorter flower videos as we go into the summer, exploring lots of different types of flowers and different techniques that you can use both outdoors and using artificial light indoors like we have done today. While you're down in the comment section, give us a like if you enjoyed the video, and make sure to subscribe for more macro photography tutorials, ideas, inspiration, as well as more flower photos in the next few weeks and months as we go into summer. Until then though guys, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.